Cincinnati is probably one of these smart football players that, again, like you said, not very athletic, but he's a good, solid football player that knows defense.
Absolutely.
Now you're going to put what he learned with Nick Saban at Alabama in that defensive backfield,
and couple that with Rob.
You're going to couple that with Rob Ryan. It's almost going to be like that. Okay, it's another coach on the sideline, and he's just going to be a rookie. But I bet you. But I'm willing to bet that he's going to have more knowledge as a rookie than some of these players that are some of the veterans on this Saints defense. Not that that's a bad thing. No. It's just going to be what it is because of what he knows.
Absolutely. I mean, he knows so much, and he might not be. He's a character guy. Is what I feel like.
Too.
Yeah, he's going to be a well-disciplined, well-versed in the game and the defense that Coach Ryan is working. I mean, and the thing about it too was that you watched him at Alabama. If somebody wasn't in the right position, he will run up and put them where they needed to be.
Coach on the field.
Absolutely, and that's a great asset for the Saints defense to have that improved vastly last year under Coach Ryan's first year. Now, I mean, you can, with a guy like this, plus the talent that we brought in, you're looking at leaps and bounds better than last year.
Right. Oh, and we were a top 5 ranked defense last year.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's unbelievable the improvement that we made, that the Saints made. I keep saying we again because we are fans. The improvements that the Saints defense have made from the Bounty Gate year, and that's what I'm going to refer to, the year of the suspension,
right,
to last season, and now this season coming up, we're poised to have another top 10 defense.
All indicators point towards a yes on that one.
Were you able to pull up the rest of the draft class?
Let's see,
because we had a linebacker drafted from Florida, which was the second,
he was the
second 5th round pick. But anyway, while we're looking that up, some other notes in the NFL draft: the 3 SEC quarterbacks that start with the letter M, Murray, McCarron, and Mettenberger, all fell further than what I expected.
Much further than what I expected.
I thought that they were going to be middle round draft picks, not 5th round picks. Though Murray going to Kansas City, McCarron going to Cincinnati, and then Mettenberger may have the better opportunity of the 3 going to Tennessee, where he could very well compete to be the starting quarterback there.
He could. He and Jake Locker are going to have a furious competition at that spot. They're going to go at it, and I think the only ability that Locker has over Met in that area is being mobile. Because, I mean, we've seen Met's arm strength, we've seen his knowledge of offense, and we've seen his accuracy he had, what was it, at the A&M game, Garrett Danielson went on for 3 minutes after the play about a throw he made between 3 defenders.
He has an incredible arm, he has incredible accuracy. Mettenberger, I think, is probably the more talented of the 3. But the thing that I worry about Mettenberger is how his ankle and that injury that he sustained the last regular season game of the year against Arkansas when he was at LSU, the injury that he suffered, how that's going to hold up during these OTAs and training camp and in the preseason. But I think if it holds up fine, he could very well be the starter, and whoever's the quarterback in Tennessee is going to get a lot of help because they brought in 2 of my favorite guys, a little bit of bias here, former Ole Miss Rebels Dexter McCluster and a beast of an offensive lineman in Michael Orr.
Yeah, Michael Orr, he'd kind of tailed off a little bit in the later time with the Ravens, but I mean, still a ridiculously solid and talented offensive lineman. And I mean, he'll be, if Met does gain the starting position in Nashville, he'll have a great guy protecting his blind side. It was just entertaining to me that, as you and I had kind of predicted, that Jadeveon Clowney went first. Wasn't a giant surprise.
No.
It was just the fact that the rest of the night was all tailored around how far Johnny Manziel fell, and the amount of pretty decent humor you could find on the internet as to his reaction and everything. It was one of those kind of things, and I was actually supremely shocked, although I shouldn't have been, that Jerry Jones passed on Manziel in the first round, even though he has $100 million invested in Tony Romo. That's to bring that kid, to bring Manziel into his organization this year, guarantee number one, that has sold tickets, which is probably chiefly first on Jones's mind.
Not that they need help selling tickets.
No, but I guarantee you Jerry World would have been packed every Sunday if they'd had Manziel on that sideline.
Okay, Teddy Bridgewater going to Minnesota after Minnesota traded up with Seattle to go back into the first round. What does that say for Christian Ponder?
That probably tells Christian Ponder his days are numbered severely. I mean, Bridgewater's an exceptionally talented quarterback. We saw what he could do in college. We saw the way he manhandled Florida in a Sugar Bowl, I think, 2 years ago.
Right.
And he's a great kid. He's a great athlete. And, you know, not just talking about Christian Ponder, but what does that say to Adrian Peterson? That says, hey, we're trying to take some of the load off your back, bud.
Right. We're trying to help Adrian Peterson out. We don't want to have Adrian Peterson leave our organization. He's been the face of our organization. And if he leaves, what happens to us? They're going to have a new stadium for 2018. They were just awarded the Super Bowl. You know, whenever a team builds a new stadium,
Roger Goodell is going to circle that with a red Sharpie.
They want a Super Bowl. They're probably going to get it. Now look for Atlanta to get it the following year because they'll be
their new stadium as well.
Yeah, they just broke ground on their new stadium. Mm-hmm. So
I heard, and I'm not entirely sure if it's entirely true, the seats in Atlanta's new stadium are going to be like Rumble Box. Whenever something happens, the seats will vibrate.
Oh, that might be pretty cool.
That sounds kind of weird though. After a touchdown, if you don't stand up, your seat starts vibrating.
Wow,
I'd be a little spooked at that.
They're going to force you to stand up anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway,
if anything, it'll force the fans out of the
building. We're losing daylight here, so that means we're probably going to, and as we are on historic St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans, as we make our way to our destination downtown. Final thoughts about the draft? Let's did you find what we were looking for?
I did. In the 5th round, the New Orleans Saints first took Vinny Sunseri, who we talked about sooner, with the 27th pick that round. Then later, with the 29th pick, we got Ronald Powell, who was the outside linebacker from Florida.
He's another guy that's going to be able to contribute on special teams, and he's another exceptional talent. And again, it's going to fit the mold of what Sean Payton was looking for.
And he's going to be another body to lend at linebacker depth and try to get that rotation of guys in and out, keep some guys fresh. And then later in the 6th round,
because the Saints did not have a 7th round pick.
My mistake.
That's okay.
In the 6th round, the Saints' last pick was Tavon Rooks, who was the tackle out of Kansas State.
We'll see how Rooks ends up, but, you know, a lot of people say, you know, you don't know if those later round guys are going to make the team, but it could be those later round guys that end up making the team and end up being a diamond in the rough, and you just don't know how they're going to end up and how they're going to be until you put them out on the field, on the practice field, to see how they're going to react, and then let's put them out in preseason and see what happens.
Absolutely. And also want to say this too, when you get into those rookie mini camps and everything like that, they may not make the team that drafted them.
Right.
But those practices are auditions for other NFL teams.
Exactly.
To where if you know you don't fit the mold in New Orleans, hell, somebody like Chicago or, you know, Denver, somebody might see what you got and say, hey, that kid, we'll bring him in for a tryout.
Right.
So you're not completely sectioned off, and that's the cool thing. The one thing I like about the NFL, if you don't make it with one team, you have 31 other options. Hopefully, best case scenario, that you can go to help, you know, further your dream of playing in the league.
Right. Why don't you wrap it up? I always wrap it up. I'll give it to you this time.
Well, from historic St. Charles Avenue, being mobile, passing under I-10, this has been the mobile version of the Sports Report. I'm Chris. That's Paul behind the wheel. We'll come at you next time with more sports news.